boy Alex, and I'm gonna go in my uncle's room, which he out doing Uber. So I decided to give you another YouTube video classic. I said I was gonna do some of these old school YouTube videos from my old YouTube channels and put them onto my new channels. And I did say more of the bigger and more profile stuff would be on my other channel, so that way it doesn't seem like I'm taking up room. Now, this YouTube video is going to be called Sex Game, Your 20s versus Your 30s Part 2. What's the difference in being in your 20s versus your 30s? Why you may feel like it's the end of the world in your 20s, whereas you get in your 30s, things are different. What you're doing right now in your 20s, I promise you 10 years from now when you get in your 30s, you will not be doing. Or if you do, you'll do it to a less degree. Let's start with your 20s. See, for someone that's going to college or is getting into the workforce, you may feel like that no matter what you say, no matter what you do, everyone's out to get you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It seems like it's the end of the world. Yeah, I was watching you guys' tennis shoes. And don't feel bad if women laugh and make fun of you because you're fat and you're out of shape and you have a hard time getting a job, a house or an apartment or a car. Because in 10 years, the tables are going to turn. The math and the science tells us that women have great, exciting fun in their 20s. All in their 20s, women are kicking ass and taking names. And they can do no wrong. Good for women in their 20s. Terrible for you as a man if you're in your 20s. But when you hit your 30s, good for you. Terrible for women in their 30s. You see, Mother Nature has this rule that a woman's prime can last 10 to 15 years. Most women don't know that because not all women. I don't want no one to call the all police up in here and try to prosecute me on YouTube and call the YouTube police the all police because I said women don't have no clue. But the reality and the truth is most women don't have no clue because they watch too much television, too many Hollywood movies, and they're too obsessed with social media. They're too obsessed with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and they just live in the moment. They don't seem to realize that 10 years from now, you're going to have kids, you're going to be married, and you're going to be pulling the Ayesha Curry Association. I don't get no attention no more. You know, all that other dumbass bullshit. You're going to be doing that 10 years from now if you're a woman. If you're a man, you're going to be going, I don't understand. Back when I was in high school, I couldn't get no... Sorry, dog in there trying to interrupt the video. Back in high school and college, I couldn't get the attention of beautiful, attractive women. I couldn't get no play from none of the females from age 18 to 29. All in my 20s, it was fake phone numbers, fake email addresses. I tried to ask a woman out to lunch, and you would try to take her out to McDonald's and Burger King with your allowance that your dad gave you, whether your allowance was $10, $20, whether it was $50, whether it was $100. Your dad would give you some kind of allowance when you went to high school and college, and you would try to take a woman out to McDonald's or Burger King. And you would be sitting at McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, or Carl's Jr. or Jack in the Box, and you would be sitting there for about 1 hour and 30 minutes, and the girl never show up. Only to find out from your best friends when you went to class the next day, whether it was high school or college, that she went out with the basketball team or the football team. And you can use your imagination. And you were pissed because that was 1 hour and 30 minutes. Everybody else knew about it, but you didn't. So you try it a second time. You try to take her out to to dinner. because you had a little part-time job after school. When you was in high school and college, after school, after class, you had a part-time job, and you was making $200-300. So you thought with your little money, you thought with your little $200-300, you thought you was doing a little something in your 20s. So you try to take her out to dinner. You try to be fancy with it. You try to take her to Red Lobster, Olive Garden, and you sat there for 2 hours wondering why is she not returning my phone calls, my text messages, why is she not emailing me, why is she not showing up. It's 2 hours. I made a reservation. And after an hour or 2 hours that you sit at a table at Red Lobster or Olive Garden, you know what happens, right? They bring a receptionist or they bring a server, and that person tells you, well, this table's now reserved by somebody else, and now you got to leave and go to the bar. So now you look stupid and dumbfounded because you wasted $200-300 going to a Red Lobster or a Olive Garden, and now you find yourself in a situation where that's money you can't get back. Well, you make it back, but the time's gone. Now you try number 3. I'm gonna try to take her to the park and have a picnic. That don't turn out very well because you sit at the park for about almost 3 to 4 hours. It depends on the person. You say that you stay there for 3 hours, or you stay there for 4 hours and she don't show up. So that's 3 times you got rejected. And you see, when you found out from your friends that she was at a football game or at a basketball game or at a rap concert during those 2 hours that you were sitting at the dinner table looking stupid. If you was at the park, she was getting her back blown out by Tyrone and Chad at the same exact time. So you tried a 4th attempt. You thought maybe if I take her out early in the morning for some coffee. But Chad and Tyrone already bought her some coffee. Now, here you come giving her some coffee, and she just basically just takes the coffee, but don't drink it. The whole day go by, she don't even drink the coffee. So that's 4 times you've been rejected. Then you try to get an explanation, and she goes 6 months to a year not giving you an explanation. So that's 5 rejections. Then when you try to talk to her, she get someone like a co-worker. This is if it's at work, and they tell you to leave her alone. So that's 6 times you've been rejected. And then there's the 7th rejection, where you get rejected for the 7th and final time, where she has to publicly embarrass and humiliate you. So that's 7 rejections in such a short span. That's 7 rejections. So you figure, oh, I'll just go to the movies and get a box of popcorn and some soda and just watch this movie and do AKA escapism. Yeah, until they find out what your age is, and all of a sudden there's some form of age discrimination. Yeah, I've been there. Every time I applied for a job, it was age discrimination. How old are you, sir? How old are you, young man? Who's your parents? Motherfucker, I'm 24 years old. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know you was 24. I thought you looked like you was still in high school. I'm sorry. You get motherfuckers that do that type of bullshit. Oh, my bad, man. I didn't know you was 24. And they be looking at the ID like 2 or 3 times. Like, why you keep looking at my ID like that? So you get a form of age discrimination. I go to the jobs. They go, well, we looking for somebody that's a little older. We looking for somebody that's 27, 28. And you be like, motherfucker, I'm 24. Yeah, but you a little young, and this job requires 8 hours. We need somebody that comes on time. We need somebody that is responsible and focused and ain't gonna be goofing off looking into outer space. Got rejected at least, I would say, between 10 to almost 25 times in 10 years. I got rejected that many times at job interviews. Got rejected on online application and in person. Fill out 50 applications, got rejected all 50 times, filling out applications. And it didn't matter if I filled out the information correctly or if I filled it out wrong and incorrect. It didn't matter if I applied back 6 months later or I applied back 3 years later. It was the same result. Rejection, 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 rejection. Even by the time I got 25, it was still some more age discrimination. It didn't stop. You know? And same thing when it came to going to the nightclubs. You know, I got into the nightclubs, but then when it came to try to buy some alcohol, they just look at me funny. Like, let me see your ID, man. Make sure it ain't fake. Make sure you ain't a high school kid. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm 25. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad, dog. By the way, you look like Magic Johnson. I'm like, man, give me my drink before I knock your ass out. You're going to experience this in life. You're going to go through this in life. And the women do the same thing. Oh, no, you too. If you're 18, a girl that's 18 years old going to reject you if you're 18. If you're 20 and you talk to a girl that's 20, you're going to get rejected because a girl that's 20 years old don't want to date no guy that's 20. If you're 25, a girl's going to reject you because you're 25. And some guys might say, well, I'm 30. And even if you're 30 years old, there are new scientific studies that they're trying to hide and don't want to put out to the general public. You could be a 30-year-old man and still get rejected by a 30-year-old woman. Because if the woman has 2 jobs or 3 jobs, she thinks she has more value than you. And you're going to be fighting a downhill battle in your 20s. But math and science tells us it's okay if you get ignored for 10 years. Because when you hit your 30s, it's like taking the super soldier serum of Captain America and realizing your full potential 100% fully realized. If you ever seen the Captain America movie, First Avenger, you know, if you saw in the beginning of that movie, he couldn't even realize his full potential. And then one shock of super soldier serum, all of a sudden he realizes his full potential at 100% completely. And that's what your 30s feel like. It feel like all in your 20s you got to go through a struggle. And that's when you enter in something called your prime. Not your physical prime, but your prime where you can get any job that you want. All of a sudden things that were not available become available. Like for an example, now if you want to go to the nightclubs and the bars, every time you come in there, they'll immediately go, you want the bar? You want a table? See, in the beginning when you was in your 20s, it was you got to sit there for 2 to 3 hours until something became available. But as soon as they picked your ID out and they found out that you were 35 or 40, oh, you want the bar? You want the table? You want to make a reservation? You want VIP? And you'd be like, man, I ain't trying to get all that. All I just want is a beer, go watch 2 guys whoop each other's ass in MMA, UFC, and that's all I want. I'm just trying to tell you how it goes from you got to sit at the table, you got to sit in the hall for 2 to 3 hours to get a table available versus as soon as you walk in, they shower you with a bunch of attention. That's how you know things are starting to get good in your 30s versus your 20s. When you go to the movie theater, you get discounts. All of a sudden, you can get popcorn and soda for 50% off. Whereas in your 20s, popcorn costs you almost $10, $13, $15. A drink, that was $20. Oh, want some candy, that's $24. But all of a sudden, because they found out what your age is, now you got discounts. Same thing if you work at a store. You get discounts. And then you get invited to places. See, in your 20s, you might have tried to hang out with the basketball team, the football team, and the baseball team. And it was like, man, get your nerdy ass out of here. But as soon as they see you go to 24-Hour Fitness, LA Fitness, Gold's Gym, Club Bay, Club Onyx, UFC Gym. Yes, UFC have their own gym. LA Boxing Gym. As soon as they find out you go to those gyms and you know people that are rich and famous, now everybody want to be your friend and kiss your ass. At this point, you know who are your real friends and who are your fake friends. And the women, you will get some women from high school and college that you haven't seen for 10 years just magically reappear and show up and try to say, hi, remember me? Remember how you tried to holler at me in high school and college? and she'll have 3 kids, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, and you'll be looking at her like, I don't find you physically sexually attractive. You gain 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds, and you're between 200 to 260 pounds or borderline 300 pounds. And then some terrible worst cases, 400 pounds. And you'll be looking at the woman like, you're fat and out of shape, you look like somebody's mother or grandmother, and you got 3 to 4 kids. And I ain't trying to date no woman that's fat and out of shape, that's old, and got kids by another man. That's not what I'm interested in. See, in your 20s, you can't see women's nature because you're got what they call one-itis. Meaning you get the hots for this one woman in high school, college, or at the gym or at work, and then you can't see it. But when you get in your 30s, being in your 30s is like having superpowers. For some of y'all that love Marvel so much, being 35 is like having access to the Infinity Gauntlet. You now have the power to alter reality and bend the laws of physics and time to your will. For an example, if you want to go back to when they fought those aliens in the first Avenger film 10 years ago, you'll be able to go back in time to when you were in high school and make it where you date the cheerleader. I'm just giving you an example. If you had access to the Infinity Gauntlet, what you'll be doing with it. Think of your 20s and your 30s as something like that. In your 20s, from age 18 to 29, that's like 12 to 13, maybe 14 and a half years of being ignored by women. Everyone ignores you. The jobs ignore you, women ignore you. A lot of people mess with you. You try to go to the bank and get a checking account, and they be looking at you like, how old are you again? I'm 22. Ain't you supposed to be in college, young man? You sure you got a job? They look at you real funny at the bank. As soon as they find out you 30 or 35, oh yeah, they be so happy to set you up a checking account. But when you try that at 20, 25, it was, oh no man, I think you need to come with your mom or your dad. Come back with your dad. You're like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to explain to you guys that are in your 20s what you're experiencing. That if you want some answers, I'm giving you some answers to what's going on. So if women are having fun doing that, and you see, when you get in your 30s, you can reinvent yourself. That's when you see guys wear the leather jackets, the sunglasses, they're driving motorcycles, fast cars, they're driving trucks. That's when you reinvent yourself. That's when you transform yourself into the absolute best version of yourself. Remember what I said in that video of self-improvement? Remember I told you about the rules of self-improvement? Well, your 20s, you might have sex with women, but all the women that you have sex with from age 18 to 29 are women you just do not find physically, sexually attractive. You're going to be having sex with women that are fat and out of shape, that are 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, because you're in your 20s and you're sexually frustrated. You might have sex with women old enough to be your mother or your grandmother. You might have to mess with women that's in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, because you're sexually frustrated. And you don't have no experiences with women, so you have to go with women that you don't find physically, sexually attractive. And that goes on from age 18 all the way to 29 years old. So you experience that for about 12, 13, 14 years, and you might say, man, I don't want this. Man, I want the supermodel. I want the fitness model. I want the booty model with the big butt. I want the cheerleaders. I want the Hollywood actresses. I want the hot women. I don't want somebody's mother or grandmother. Remember that YouTube video I made called The Nightclub? The nightclub and the bars? You go into the nightclubs and the bars and you think you're going to get hot women. You get the complete opposite. When you get in your 30s, your value goes up. You go buy a car, right? They had it set up where the younger you are, the highest insurance you got to pay up the ass. The older you get, the less of the insurance you pay up the ass. Now, you still got to pay car insurance, but when you get older, things get cheaper. All right? Getting the car becomes easy because you're 35 or 40, you get a discount with no matter what car you buy if you got good enough credit. You can get a house or an apartment because of your age. Oh, he's 35, he's 40, he ain't gonna be tearing no shit up. They think when you're 20, 25 years old, or even 27, oh, he's young, he's dumb, he's stupid, he might burn the house down, he might blow up the house. Don't give him no house, don't give him no apartment, disqualify him. That's what you deal with when you try to get a house or an apartment or even a car. That's what you deal with when you try to set up a checking account at the bank or you try to get a job. You get all of that in your 20s, and the women are no different. The females be like, well, he ain't got no house or no apartment. He ain't got no car, so I ain't giving up no ass. And while you're struggling for that long of a period, the woman is having all the fun in her 20s. But when she turns 30 to 35, she gets a nice rude awakening. And trust me, Mother Nature does things. Because Mother Nature is funny as hell. Mother Nature will take that advantage away from the woman that rejected you in high school, college, at the gym, at work. And as soon as you hit 35 or 40 years old, gives you the advantage. Takes the power away from the woman and gives you the power. And then you're the one that women find physically, sexually attractive. You're the one that women be like, I want him to ask me out to lunch and dinner. You become the top gun. You become the superstar of the basketball team or the football team. And she becomes, not to be rude or disrespectful, but she becomes yesterday's news. Like, ain't nobody talking about the girl no more in high school and college that rejected you. Ain't nobody talking about the girl at the gym that rejected you. Ain't no one talking about the girl that embarrassed and humiliated you and brought you into the H&R's office a total of 3 to 4 times. Because in 10 years, all those women get fat and out of shape, and then you'll be saying to yourself, I don't know what I saw in this girl when I was 20, 25. I don't know what I saw in her. And by the time she see that you got a house or an apartment, she see you got a car or 2 jobs or 3 jobs, or you got your own company, now she want to give you the phone number. Now she want to give you the email address. Now she wants you to ask her out to lunch and dinner. But then you say to yourself, if I had a time machine and I go back in time, you rejected me 5 times, 10, 15, 20 times in 10 years. You got 3 kids and you're almost 300 pounds and you look like somebody's grandmother. And I don't want to be with somebody that look like that. And then you will either do one or 2 things. You either give her a choice, friends with benefits or pump and dump. And she'll find that very insulting of you doing that. Like, she'll be like, how dare you? I'm just trying to explain to you how the math and the science is. So life is better in your 30s than in its 20s. Now, you will get some women from high school and college that you don't see for 10 years come back and try to give you what they call leftover ass. And you are going to try to reject 80% of them. Because when they come back, it's because they still think you're stupid. See, all in your 20s, women think you're stupid. When you get in your 30s, women still think you're stupid. But the thing is, it's like the Terminator analogy. If you've seen the original Terminator film where Kyle Reese told Sarah Connor in the movie that once upon a time the cyborg was stupid, meaning it had low level of intelligence. And then he said it got smarter, a new order of intelligence. And that's what being in your 30s is. You go from being stupid to being very smart. You go from being goofy and clumsy to being mature and masculine. You go from people laughing at you like a joke to being taken serious with 3 heart attacks or 4 heart attacks. You go from getting no respect to almost everyone respecting you. You go from a 0 to a hero. But it takes 10, maybe 13 years for that to happen. In your 20s, nobody take you serious. You get in your 30s, all of a sudden people take you serious. Think about this. If you don't believe me, how come all the actors that play your favorite superheroes in Marvel and DC, look at the ages? Do you ever see a Batman that's 20, 25? Hell no. It would look so out of place if Warner Brothers said, let's make a live action movie of Batman, and we made Batman 2025. So they make Batman between the ages of 30 to 45 years old, 50 years old, because it's more believable, right? Superman. You will never see a Superman that's 25. Oh, let's make Superman 32. Let's make Superman 37 years old. Wolverine. If you look at Hugh Jackman's Wolverine from the very first X-Men film, that version of Wolverine was 33 years old. X-Men 2, he was 35. The third X-Men film, he was 40 years old. When they got to X-Men Future Days Past, he was 50 years old. Same thing if you look at Iron Man, the very first Iron Man film with Robert Downey Jr. in it, his character's already 35 years old. By the time they do Iron Man 2, his character's 35. They look at the Avengers film, he's 37. You look at Iron Man 3, he's 40. You look at when they get towards the end of that story arc, he's like already 50 years old. All your superheroes in Marvel and DC are always in their late 30s, early 40s. That's when they have the most fun, and that's when they're kicking ass and taking names. You want to give somebody some advice? They'll listen to you. Nobody's going to listen to you if you're 18, 20, 25, 27. Even if you're 30 years old, 31 or 32 years old, still no one's going to not listen to you. You got to be 35. You got to be 40, 45. You got to be 50 for somebody to listen to you. That's the difference between being in your 20s versus your 30s. In your 20s, you lose. You win in your 30s. And the rule is you got to be 35, not 30, not 31, not 32. You might get lucky if you're 32 or 33. You might get lucky. Hell, you might get lucky at 34. But the rule is you got to be 35 for things to go from down to go up. While you're going up, all the women that were rude and disrespectful to you in high school and college, at the gym, at the park, at the beach, at the movie theater, at your workplace, they're going down. As you go up, they go down. And I know a lot of you guys would like to say, yeah, payback's a bitch. And guess what? Mother Nature's the one that's going to help you get some payback. Mother Nature takes that power away from the woman and gives it to you. But you're not going to know when that transitional period takes place. You could be in a new city, in a new state with a new job. And by the time you turn 38, you got all this of attention and you don't know why you're getting the attention. You could be 40 or 42 years old and you still don't know why you're getting all of this attention from out of nowhere. It's because Mother Nature is taking all the power away from all the women that rejected you and is transferring it to you. Think of it as a checking account that your dad has money. Let's say your dad's got $50,000, and let's say your dad takes $10,000 and transfer it to your account. So the transfer of power, it's being transferred from women and it's being sent to you, and you hold on to that power all the way until the day you die. By the way, this video is going to go into a new series where I'm going to call it Man versus Woman. Who really truly deserves the power? And you'll know why I'm making that video. So yeah, this is going to be pretty much of a long video. I just wanted to explain it so you guys can have a better understanding of your 20s versus your 30s. You know, that's your financial prime. That's where everything comes together. Not just your physical looks, but that's where everything comes together. So, hope you liked the video. Peace.